ahead.
Hi, my name is Lorinda Harris, and I'm a UT Tyler student. I'm currently in my level 2 fieldwork, and today we're going to do Chocoflan. It is a tradition recipe that me and my mom would make for the holidays. So before we start, I'm just going to wash my hands. Every time you cook, you have to always make sure your hands are clean. The reason I chose this recipe is because it's a really easy recipe to make. Hopefully, those of you at Blind will make use of it. I know that usually for the holidays, we make a lot of sweets and pastries and things like that, so it's really useful. Now, I would say that this flan cake recipe would fall under the category of of health and wellness. And the reason I say that is because usually when I bake, it does remind me of family gatherings and family togetherness, and usually that's something that brings us together for the holidays. So we would begin with these ingredients. I'll bring you over here. So these are the ingredients that you're going to need to make the flan cake. In this case, we're going to make Chocoflan because we'll be using chocolate cake. So you will need some olive oil, non-sticking cooking spray, extra virgin olive oil or vegetable oil, pure vanilla extract, evaporated milk. We'll be using fat-free. Sweetened condensed milk, cajeta quemada, which is caramel spread, and then in this case we'll be using chocolate cake, which is the Duncan Hines Devil Food. This comes out really moist when you bake it. You can choose any flavor you want for the cake batter. For this recipe I'll be using chocolate, but you can use vanilla, strawberry, yellow cake, or any other type of cake flavoring that you like. For toppings, you can use cookie pieces, pecans, or strawberries. Anything that you want to embellish your flan cake with, you can. In this case, I'll be using some pecans, which are cookie pieces because they're minced very small. Okay, so these are the ingredients. The recipe steps are not very difficult to make. You will need some eggs. Let me go ahead and grab that. So first what we're going to do is we're going to mix the flan mixture. And the flan mixture consists of 3 eggs. You can use any size eggs. It could be regular eggs or jumbo. These are jumbo. Once you're done with those eggs, you'll go ahead and open the evaporated milk. You will drop the whole jar in there. And next you would go ahead and drop the whole jar of the sweetened condensed milk. Now this milk is very thick, but it's also very sweet. They sell different flavors. There's one caramel flavored, which would be a good addition to this recipe if you like the flavor caramel. They do also have low fat. So a little bit about flan for those of you that are not familiar with what flan is. Flan is a custard. In English, you would hear the word custard, and custard is usually flavored caramel. You can make it as sweet as you want. For this recipe, it will ask for 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. So that way it could be very sweet, but it will even out with the cake flavor. After you mix your 3 eggs, your 1 can of evaporated milk and condensed milk, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. I wouldn't recommend to add more than 1 tablespoon, only because it tends to come out too sweet. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and mix these ingredients up. As you're mixing these ingredients, we're going to preheat our oven to 350. You do want to have another separate pan for the cake mix. The flan mixture should be mixed thoroughly, so you shouldn't see any egg yolks on there. Now after we have this, we just set this aside. And now we're going to begin with the cake mix. For the cake mix, it's fairly easy depending on the type of cake mixture that you're going to use. You just follow the recipe that's back here. I personally like chocolate, so this is my personal preference, but again, you can use any flavor that you like. So for this recipe, it does ask for 3 eggs as well, and we're just following again the cake recipe. The 3 eggs are there. Next, it asks for 1 cup of water. And then a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. One-third. If you're going to be using the same mixture, you just want to wash and rinse your tools. You don't want any of the flan mixture in there yet. Okay. Mix the cake batter pretty thorough. While you're mixing this, you do want to use a bundt pan for a bundt cake. This one's a fairly small one, so you can use a larger one. If you're going to use a small bundt pan or bundt cake pan, we would only use half of this. So I'll show you that in a bit. All right. So for your bundt cake pan, what you want to do is you want to spray it with some cooking spray. And what we're going to do here is you're going to get your cajeta and you're going to pour, you can pour the entire bottle if you want, or you can pour more than half. It depends on your preference. I'm not going to pour the entire bottle. I'm only going to probably pour a little bit more than half because I like to leave some left over to apply after it's done. And I apply it on top of the flan cake. This adds more sweetener to the cake. So your pan should look like this. After you have the cajeta in there, you're going to pour the flan mixture. I'm only pouring half, only because of the size of the bundt cake pan. After that is done, then you will go ahead and apply the cake batter mix. You can go ahead and just smear it a little bit just to make sure that you get all the edges covered with the cake batter. Don't mix it with the flan liquid. So this is what it would look like. Okay, so now the next step would be a baño de María. A baño de María, that's just a Spanish term for an additional boiler, sometimes for anyone that's baking or cooking delicate ingredients such as custard. If you fill a pan with water halfway, it will help with the even distribution of the heat, so that way the custard doesn't break apart when it's there. So you want to get a deep dish like this and fill it up with water. A little bit less than half, because once you put the pan inside, you don't want the water to overflow and spill. Okay, so you would put it like that. That is called the hot what they call the hot water bath. Once your oven is ready to preheat at 350, you'll go ahead and put it in there and cook and bake it for an hour. Okay, so we'll wait for that. After the hour is done and your cake is ready, I made another one, that way you could see once it's done. This one was already in there. I let it cool for 10 minutes because it is very hot. So I'm going to show you now how to apply the toppings. So you do want to have another extra pan like this. Okay, the oven's already preheated at 350. So we'll go ahead and put this in there for an hour. Okay, that one. So for this, you want to be careful that you don't burn yourself because it might still be hot. And you have to be very careful when you turn it over, okay? You do this again at least 10 minutes after you take it out. You slowly pick up your bundt cake pan. And what you're going to see is that the cajeta melted, so it drips all over. The additional or the extra that you do have that you didn't use when applying it in the beginning, you can go ahead and apply it afterwards. And you can make decorations of it or however you'd like. Okay. All right. Then this is where your pecan pieces would come into play. Or strawberries if you like fruits. And you would just embellish your cake with some pecans. You do want to put it in the refrigerator, that way it can stay cool. This must be refrigerated at all times because it should be served cold, not warm. And this is your Chocoflan. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much.